Picture this. You are standing on a pristine, sun-drenched beach on a remote tropical island, the warm sand beneath your boots and the sound of gentle waves crashing against ancient granite rocks. Somewhere right below your feet, buried deep within a labyrinth of masterfully engineered tunnels, sits over $1 billion in raw, glittering wealth. We are talking about the kind of treasure that makes Hollywood movies look like a joke. Sacks overflowing with uncut diamonds, heavy silver ingots, and the legendary fiery cross of Goa, a massive solid gold crucifix studded with emeralds and rubies, the size of quail eggs. It is the ultimate jackpot, the hoard of the infamous pirate Olivier Levasseur, better known by his terrifying moniker, the Buzzard. But there is a massive, deadly catch that no one talks about. This treasure does not just sit in a wooden box, waiting to be found. It actively defends itself. When Levasseur was finally captured and dragged to the gallows in July of 1730, he did not beg for his life or offer apologies to the heavens. Instead, as the executioner secured the rough hemp rope around his neck, the pirate smiled a wicked, knowing smile. He reached into his filthy shirt, pulled out a cryptogram carved into a piece of parchment, and hurled it right into the screaming crowd. His final words echoing through the humid air were a challenge to the world, daring anyone who could understand his puzzle to come and claim his unimaginable wealth. And that single arrogant gesture ignited a 300-year curse that has drowned, crushed, and driven mad almost everyone who has dared to take up his twisted game. You see, Levasseur was not just a brutal sea robber. He was an architectural genius who understood human greed better than anyone. And he used that very greed to build a tomb that would kill people centuries after his own bones turned to dust. And here is where everything gets incredibly dark. The cryptogram itself is a masterpiece of deception, filled with Masonic symbols, esoteric references, and bizarre astrological clues that seem to lead you right to the edge of the treasure before snatching it away. For generations, brilliant minds, historians, and seasoned cryptographers have stared at those 17 lines of symbols until their eyes bled, convinced they were just one translation away from becoming billionaires. But solving the map is actually the easiest part of this nightmare. The real horror begins when you start digging into the volcanic soil of Mahé Island in the Seychelles. Early treasure hunters thought they were just looking for a simple hole in the ground, but what they uncovered was a massive subterranean death trap designed by a man who had years to perfect his revenge. As excavators dug deeper into the cliffs, they began finding chilling markers left behind by the pirates. Carved into the dense rock were ominous symbols like severed heads, staring eyes, and twisted snakes, signs that were not meant to guide the way but to warn intruders that they were walking into a slaughterhouse. Men would dig for weeks, spending their life savings to carve through the dirt, only to suddenly hit a void. And the weirdest part is, these voids were not natural caves. They were precisely calculated pressure chambers. The moment a careless digger broke through the wrong rock, the trap was sprung. Millions of gallons of crushing ocean water would instantly flood the tunnel violently, drowning anyone trapped in the claustrophobic darkness before they even had a chance to scream. Levasseur and his crew had literally tapped into the ocean's tides, using the natural water pressure of the sea to create an eternal self-resetting hydraulic trap that functions perfectly even today. But the water is only one of the executioners waiting in the dark. Modern treasure hunters, armed with millions of dollars in funding, ground-penetrating radar, and heavy industrial machinery, have boldly marched onto the island thinking they could simply overpower a 300-year-old pirate trap. They were dead wrong. The brilliant engineering of these underground chambers means that the harder you try to force your way in, the more lethal the environment becomes. When excavators tried to use explosives to blast through the granite, the shockwaves triggered secondary collapses, bringing hundreds of tons of jagged rock crashing down on their heads. Levasseur specifically designed the main treasure vault to sit directly beneath a precarious fault line of loose boulders and packed sand, held up by ancient, rotting wooden beams. The moment someone disturbs the structural integrity of the surrounding tunnels, the entire ceiling caves in, burying the hunters alive in a tomb of their own making. And if the collapsing rocks and the sudden floods do not get you, the silent killer certainly will. Over centuries, the sealed organic matter deep inside these flooded caves has decomposed, generating pockets of highly toxic hydrogen sulfide gas. It is a completely invisible threat. A treasure hunter could be lowering himself down a narrow shaft, heart pounding with excitement as his flashlight catches something shiny in the mud, and within 2 breaths of the toxic air, his nervous system shuts down. He passes out and quietly suffocates in the pitch black, miles away from his family, becoming just another permanent resident of the buzzard's subterranean graveyard. The traps do not rely on magic or supernatural curses. They rely on flawless, ruthless physics, proving that these pirates were incredibly sophisticated engineers who knew exactly how to weaponize the Earth itself. Yet, despite the mounting body count and the terrifying mechanics of these booby traps, people absolutely refuse to stop looking. It is a terrifying psychological phenomenon, a literal gold sickness that completely takes over a person's rational mind. Take the famous Cruise family, for example. Reginald Cruise Wilkins poured almost 3 decades of his life into excavating the shores of Mahé. He exhausted his fortune, compromised his health, and dedicated his every waking moment to outsmarting a dead pirate. He found incredible clues, ancient flintlock pistols, pirate coins, and perfectly carved statues hidden in the rocks, all proving without a shadow of a doubt that the hoard is real and sitting right there. But the closer he got to the main vault, the more the traps fought back. Retaining walls collapsed, water pumps were utterly destroyed by the sheer force of the incoming tide, and the physical toll broke him down until his death. Now his son has taken up the mantle, continuing the terrifying obsession. It is as if the treasure emits a siren song, convincing every new generation of hunters that they are the special ones, that they are smart enough to bypass the water traps and dodge the crushing boulders. You have to wonder what goes through a person's mind when they are standing in a crumbling, suffocating mud tunnel, hundreds of feet underground, listening to the ominous sound of ocean water trickling through the rocks above them. Do they think of their families? Do they realize the sheer arrogance of trying to steal from a ghost? The gold fever blinds them to the reality that they are not playing a fun adventure game. They are actively engaging in a high-stakes war against a man who despised humanity, a man who designed this entire puzzle specifically to watch from hell as greedy men destroyed themselves trying to claim his prize. Today, the legendary hoard of Olivier Levasseur remains completely untouched, locked away in its flooded, poisonous vault beneath the tropical paradise of the Seychelles. Its value has only skyrocketed with time, now estimated to be worth well over $1 billion in precious metals and historical artifacts alone. But the true legacy of the treasure is not the gold, the silver, or the emeralds. The real legacy is the trail of broken lives, bankrupted families, and silent graves left in its wake. Every piece of modern technology we have thrown at this island has failed miserably against the brutal, unforgiving genius of 18th century pirate engineering. The ocean still floods the tunnels right on cue. The yashi, toxic gases still gather in the dark. The rocks still wait to crush anyone who takes a wrong step. Levasseur's final laugh on the executioner's block was completely justified because he knew that human greed is the most predictable and destructive force on the planet. He did not need to place a magical hex on his gold. He just needed to leave a map and let our own obsessive desires do the killing for him. As the sun sets over the Indian Ocean today, the tides continue to wash over the hidden entrances of those deadly caves, keeping the billion-dollar secret safe in the cold, crushing depths. The cryptogram is still out there, available for anyone to read, an open invitation to the greatest fortune in human history. The map has been laid out, the clues have been documented, and the gold is waiting, just a few feet beneath the earth. The only question left to ask yourself is this: knowing perfectly well that the dead are waiting for company down there in the dark, would you be brave enough or crazy enough to start digging?